And hence, if the government spends more money, they have more debt, and they're always going to have debt. They will never be out of debt. It is impossible. It is a Ponzi scheme, because then, as time went on, they removed the fractional reserve banking clauses through the repeal of Glass-Steagall, which was put into place to stop the same pilferage that caused the Great Depression, was put back into place, which caused now the quote-unquote Great Recession that ended in 2008. All right. So, understanding why we're here by design, and Clinton repealing Glass-Steagall to allow the derivatives to be sold, and Larry Summers could, create all his little wonderful Ponzi scheme, knowing that money would be made on the way up and there would be crashes on the way down, and the taxpayers end up bailing out the banks, which is made from fraudulent debt. Nobody gets arrested. Bernie Madoff, a couple of people, small potatoes to the real situation here. But that's where they put their attention. That's where the controllers put their attention. That's why in We Are Change, the news, the mainstream media ignores is the top story. Like, let's talk about the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. In fact, I should call this show The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, because they have their little greasy, slimy, evil mitts on all of this. And through their infiltration into all different organizations. And I mean, again, I'm going to go into each of these families in detail, and how they grew to this state. But basically, by creating the tax-free foundations for philanthropy, they pay little or no taxes, quote-unquote donating all this money to building hospitals and libraries and all the things they did, 100 years ago and 80 years ago, whatever. And they continue to defraud the American people by literally working against our government and against they're traitors. You think that the Bush treason is something new. You think that Nixon lying and I'm not a crook is something new. Unfortunately, it's not. Herbert Hoover said, what would happen if anyone ever realized and they really looked at the books and then they'd see what criminals we are. I mean, he admitted it. He knew it himself. It's just that's on record. Congressional records actually show that they have complicity of giving and money to the Nazi Party, giving money to the communists, quote unquote, to have controlled opposition and to quote unquote maybe control things. But it really wasn't that at all. It was they were supporting that element. Again, General Smedley Butler was approached by the elite, by these criminals who have hijacked our government in 1934 to, or was it 1936? I think it was 36. To lead an army of 500,000 men in a fascist takeover of the government. Now, if you think that that is not true, again, all the things that I say are true. I don't I don't mince words here. Look it up. It's absolutely true and it's on record. But again, these controllers have such control over the population and the mind control through you believe Walter Cronkite and anything he says. You live by him. He's daddy, grandpa. You live by what any of these people, all these newscasters that you hold. Why do you think they have these jobs for 20 years? They bring you the news and you trust them, and it's not that they're bad people. They're just reading from a script. It's a teleprompter. It's like Obama. They're just reading from a script. It's not actually their opinions, and they might give a little commentary, but if you give too much commentary, like Jeff Fox did here in Connecticut about the chemtrails, saying he mentioned chemtrails. Next thing you know, he was off the air. Fortunately, he got himself another job because he's got a great resume. But you can't be talking about geoengineering, chemtrails. He's a weather forecaster. He literally is a meteorologist. He's noticing that these clouds are not real. That was back when they denied that there was any geoengineering. Now, of course, the government has to admit that there is geoengineering going on, quote unquote, to reflect the sunlight from the earth. Okay, to prevent global warming. Okay, buy that, and keep buying into the the vaccines are good for you. Everyone should take a flu shot. Buy into everyone should eat GMO foods constantly, all day long. No problems. Irradiated meat, no problems. Anything. The government says it's safe, and it is. That's it. End of story. Right? Otherwise, off to the gulag. Anyhow, so we have this day of global occupation going on here. It's very interesting. Here's a breakdown of it. About 2,000 people in Sydney, including representatives of Aboriginal groups, communists and trade unionists, of course, because this is the whole idea of getting this world communist, fascist, one world government dictatorship going on, this corporate dictatorship that dictates to governments what to do, which is again what Mussolini was describing. Fascism should really be called corporatism because it's exactly that. It's really a relationship between the corporations and government. And that's really what's going on here, obviously. So these communists and trade unionists protested outside the Central Reserve Bank of Australia in Frankfurt, Germany. Excuse me. In the continental Europe's financial capital, some 5,000 people protested in front of the European Central Bank, while in London about 500 people marched from St. Paul's Cathedral to the nearby stock exchange. It's out of control. In Manila, about 100 members of various groups under the Philippine Left-Wing Alliance. Again, these are all communists. These are all, I'm sorry, listen, Democrats, you're really embracing socialism and communism, but it's calling you a Democrat is stupid. It's like, I might as well just call you, I don't know, a stick as opposed to a rock. It doesn't matter what you call it. They're controlled. Both parties, the opposition is controlled. Okay, you have the opposition in the right and the opposition in the left. I mean, you can just see what's going on. You can see the people that now the people are compartmentalized. They don't understand what's really happening. They don't see that really what's going on is that both parties are controlled and they're just puppets. They're puppets because they're given agendas and they say, oh yeah, I'll deal with that. Well, we really want to move in this direction. Oh, okay. And actually, see, if we do this, this will create 50,000 jobs, where it'll probably lose 50,000 jobs, but they'll get you to buy that. See, you got to understand, it's not like there's this like magic power going on here. Although they are Machiavellian in their playbook and how they execute their deceptions, but really, quite frankly, it's just like, typically just like anybody who's deceived. You know what I mean? You let a salesperson in your house, and you don't read what you're supposed to read, and you sign it. That happen to everybody? Next thing you know, you're stuck in a contract for 10 years or something. You don't know what to do with it, and you want to kill people, and you're all upset because this company screwed you. Well, okay. Think of it that way. That's how it is. I mean, but you are actually embracing being screwed. You're shaking hands and saying, thank you for screwing me. I love it, and keep screwing me more and more and harder and harder. And they will. Believe me, without resistance, you're just going to end up putting up with so much tyranny. You'll just be happy literally to have a roof over your head someplace and some food in your stomach, if you can get that. And if you think I'm kidding, just look at history. It happens over and over again. Americans are arrogant. They think that problems of the world don't exist here, and our arrogance is our pride. And it's good to be prideful because I'm proud to be an American. And that's why I'm doing this, because I love my country. And it's not my country anymore. It's been hijacked by criminals who took over our government. So we will always be Americans. This is our homeland. But our government is illegitimate. Launching wars at the United Nations' behest. The globalists who control the United Nations and their agenda through the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, and using the Club of Rome to implement the Agenda 21 protocols, and having all of these green police going around. Okay, now in Australia, you have the green police literally going through your garbage. I mean, you're getting paid like 10, 12 bucks an hour, or whatever, 15 bucks an hour to go dig through people's garbage and see if they threw a can away. I mean, this is unbelievable. And the frauds that people are led to believe because they have so many funds and they own the books. And I'm going to get to that. Again, this is radio, but I have a Holt book here that my 12-year-old son gets. Now, Holt is a Harcourt book, which is again owned by Reed Elsevier, the Dutch-English New World Order consortium that control and own LexisNexis and 15,000 newspapers, the top 1,200 medical journals, and school books, medical books, college to grade school to college. This book, if anyone can see, it's a math book. It has a pyramid on the cover. Now, that would just be interesting, right? For, of course, readiness. And then it also has its prompting to say that it has CNN News. All the information is coming from CNN. All the news information is endorsed by CNN. Homework Help Online. Online textbook. Now, this Holt book, math book, shows examples of breaking things down mathematically using visual indications. And one of them I should have, I couldn't believe it. Problem-solving stuff that had to do with economics, for example. It's breaking down these economic things. Like, for example, it's telling you information like the United States health expenses were $428.7 billion in 1985 and $991.4 billion in 1995. What was the percent of increase in health expenses? Now that's just really like right in your face saying, haha, look what we did to you. We're going to even just use it in an example, and they'll use it for a mathematical equation to learn by. Oh, lovely, Lord, you're such a brilliant, that is why you are the key mathematician to the order. Oh yes, and that's exactly what they do. And there's other examples of it, using examples of banking and other things, and problem solving on location. Michigan State University, it tells you numbers, figures that they want you to learn. That there were about 18,000 female students at Michigan State, and that made up about 53% of the class. Then what is that? Write an equation to equal 53%. So they're giving you double layer of information here. They're giving you a subtext that you're going to believe because subconsciously you're not just doing a mathematical equation, just taking 18,000 and dividing it by 53 or inverting it or whatever. You're actually getting a subtext of history and information that they will program you to believe. That's the math book. Okay, Holt Math Course 2, Algebra Readiness. It's for 7th grade. Now this one really freaked me out. This book is Prentice Hall, which is again also the same. It's the same owner. They're all under the same coverages. It's all under the wing of Rita Elsevier. American History of Our Nation, with the Statue of Liberty, of course, Luciferian Statue of Liberty, on the cover, right in your face, which is interesting because you say that's liberty, America, again, freedom. Remember, war is peace, ignorance is strength. Obama is throwing love bombs. We are having military kinetic actions, giving humanitarian assistance on 6 fronts. So understand that, okay? We're not at war. This is an action for peace. Remember, he won the Nobel Peace Prize, okay? This is Obama, okay? He won the Nobel Peace Prize. He is the man of peace. Okay. Anyway, so they show the political parties. They talk about political parties, the elections. It's just the links of today. It tells you how the federal government is huge and it's wonderful, and that's how it should. That's basically how it is. They show a picture of the government, and it shows this huge, big government and these small little people under it, and that's the way it is. And of course, the founding fathers want exactly the opposite. Interesting analogies to everything in history: 9/11.